Good morning. So, somebody that I was friends with a while back posted on their social media today that they were looking for help. Um, they were upset. Somebody that they were friends with took their own life. They were a neighbor um, that lived above them, and she had ended up moving away with their kids because this person was, even though they were a friend, um, she had the mother's intuition that maybe her kids aren't safe too. Um, which, somebody who took their own life is clearly going through some things, and, you, to second guess the mother's intuition is, not something one should do. It's there for a reason. But, nonetheless, she's upset. She has, survivor's guilt. As anybody who's lost somebody who feels like they could have maybe done something to save them, that's what happens. We all go through it. Those of us who end up in such a situation, it's not a good feeling. And obviously she did the right thing for her kids. She felt like she needed to keep them safe, and it's her job to keep them safe, to protect them from such things. So I have a similar, not like that, not that similar, but I had, when I was a kid, I had one of my friends die. He was 17. And he overdosed. And I wasn't really around that much in his life. The last like 6 months or so, which is kind of similar to her story. And obviously it's still very upsetting. For a long time I kind of, and I, still obviously I get upset when I think about it. And for a long time it was, I had similar questions. Maybe if I had been around more, maybe something would be different. But it's not the case. Somebody's pain that causes them to go through the things that, lead to such things are deeper than we are able to fix. We can be a light in people's life, but ultimately it's their decision where they take it. Everybody's walking their own path with their own pain. In my friend's circumstance, when he was a young kid, his dad overdosed. And outwardly, growing up, he was never like a dark and broody, pained child. He had a huge laugh, a big smile, and overall just a beautiful personality. But obviously there was some pain there that needed masking. He would, through my own things in my own life, when I was kind of away from a lot of my friends, for a summer, and when I came back, they had all kind of started, partying, drinking, and doing pills and stuff like that, and I wanted nothing to do with it, because of things in my own life, which is a story for another day. But I wanted nothing to do with that because of what had gone on with me. So I kind of stayed away from them, and that had ended up happening. He overdosed on pills. This was early 2000s when pharmaceutical companies and hospitals, and if you wanted pain pills, you could get them quite easy. And his little brother found him the next morning, and the whole thing was devastating. But he grew up without a father. My father was like before I found God, is he was the epitome of self-sacrifice. He taught me, what we do as men in this world, to take care of the ones that need taken care of, and to be strong and to be resilient, to treat people with love and compassion. And he didn't have that, my friend. And because he had lost his father when he was young too, his mother wasn't really around much, because now she has 3 young kids and a house, so she's working all the time. She drank a lot too, so she was working nonstop and she wasn't really around. So it's not like my friend just lost his dad, he lost his mom too. So he was growing up with tremendous pain, and he didn't have his parents to help course correct him. So how could me as his friend have tried to fix all that just by being around? And I was 16 at the time too. How could anyone know? How could anyone know how far someone is willing to take? They're trying to escape the pain in their life. All we can do is try and bring light into people's lives. If somebody's walking in darkness and you walk up to them with a torch, you can reach out, but it's up to them whether or not they take it. And so this, I'm not going to go super deep into reading multiple verses today, as I've done in a bunch of my other videos, but this, came back into my mind here from Jeremiah 29. Now you will seek me and you will seek me and find me when you seek me with all your heart. I will be found by you. And that's after the nation of Israel has fallen from God, and through the compassion that he has for the love of his children is, if you seek me, you will find me when you seek me with all your heart. And we know that what are they seeking when they seek God? The way, the truth, the life, redemption, salvation, peace. These are things that we will find when we seek them, but we have to seek them with all our heart. And you can't give that to somebody else. It's important that we find it for ourselves, of course. And it's important that we try and show other people how meaningful that can be. But all we can do is try. All we can do is show them. We can't be around every moment of every person's life that's hurting. We can't open up their fingers and shove that torch into their hands and tell them, this is the way you're walking now. You're going to walk in the light. A lot of people don't understand that redemption and salvation is what they need. And this is obviously this is in the context of the ultimate goal in life, and to walk in God's law and walk by his will and by his light. But even like all of that aside, just like spiritually, for your own earthly peace, all heavenly themes aside, for your own earthly peace, it is not for us we can't force people into finding ways of peace in their life. We can't force others into changing their ways to, change their story so that maybe they can find a way through their pain instead of trying to bury it. That's all we can do. We can try. We can show them a path, but ultimately it's their decision. And we have to protect ourselves and the people that we're responsible for. But yeah, it's when you seek God with all your heart, you'll find him. But if you're not willing to seek God with all your heart, he reaches out in his ways. But it's up to you to answer. It's up to you to see. It's up to you to hear. And not everybody's ready for that. But all we can do is, remind people that when they're ready, God's there waiting. He loves us. And he wants us to be at peace. He wants us to walk in the light. And he wants us to have eternal life. And, yeah. That's all we can do. That's it.